Chapter 1: The Perfect Mask. Emily Carson was the kind of woman people admired. At 38, she was elegant, well-spoken, and had a quiet confidence that made her a respected literature professor at a small liberal arts college in Vermont. To outsiders, she seemed to have the perfect life, married to Dr. Thomas Carson, a successful cardiologist, living in a beautiful Victorian home with 2 golden retrievers and a garden that bloomed like something out of a lifestyle magazine. But the perfect life was a lie. Behind closed doors, their marriage was empty. Thomas was always busy, emotionally distant, and obsessed with work. Conversations had turned into formalities. Intimacy had faded into silence. Their house felt more like a hotel lobby, clean, elegant, but cold. Emily longed for passion, for someone to truly see her. And that's when he came along. Chapter 2: The Spark. Jake Matthews was 21, sharp, driven, and one of Emily's brightest students. He sat in the front row of her modern American literature class, always engaged, always asking questions that impressed her. There was something different about him. Not just his looks, though he was strikingly handsome with messy brown hair and a smirk that hinted at mischief, but his energy. He listened. He noticed things others didn't. When she spoke, he looked at her like she mattered. One late afternoon, after class, he stayed behind. "Professor Carson," he said, "I've been thinking a lot about the way you described longing in Fitzgerald's work. That ache for something just out of reach. I feel that." Emily blinked, taken aback by his vulnerability. "I feel it too," she admitted before she could stop herself. Their eyes met. And something shifted. Chapter 3: Boundaries Blurred. It started with emails. Then messages. Then coffee after class. "I probably shouldn't be spending time with a student like this," she told herself. But she didn't stop. One night, he sent her a poem he wrote. It wasn't perfect, but it was raw, aching, beautiful. Emily felt her walls begin to crack. "I wrote it about you," Jake confessed the next day. Her heart thundered. She wanted to pretend it wasn't happening, but she couldn't. She was falling. And worse, she didn't want to stop. Chapter 4: The Affair Begins. It happened on a rainy Thursday evening. He came over to return a book, and the moment he stepped inside, the air changed. "I shouldn't be here," Jake whispered. But he didn't leave. She touched his face. He kissed her. It was messy, intense, desperate. Emily felt alive in a way she hadn't in years. The guilt was there, whispering in the background, but she ignored it. In Jake's arms, she wasn't a wife, or a professor, or someone keeping up appearances. She was just Emily. Chapter 5: The Lies We Tell. Days turned into weeks. Their secret meetings grew riskier, at a cabin Jake rented, in her car, even once in her office late at night. At home, she smiled for Thomas, cooked dinner, made small talk. But every kiss from her husband felt like betrayal, not to him, but to Jake. Jake wanted more. "Leave him," he said one night. "We could go somewhere, start over. You don't love him." "I can't," Emily said, voice trembling. "I have a life, a career." "But not happiness." His words cut deep. Chapter 6: Cracks in the Mirror. Emily's lies began to pile up. Missed dinners. Late nights. Excuses about grading. Thomas noticed. "You've changed," he said one night. "You seem distant." "I'm just tired," she lied. He nodded, but something in his eyes told her he didn't believe her. That weekend, she met Jake again. They made love, but something felt different. "I don't want to be a secret anymore," he said. "I deserve more than scraps of your life." She felt a tear slide down her cheek. "You deserve everything," she whispered. "But I don't know if I can give it." Chapter 7: Discovery. It all came crashing down 2 weeks later. Thomas found her phone. The messages. The photos. The hotel reservation. He didn't yell. He just stared at her with broken eyes and whispered, "How long?" Emily collapsed on the floor, sobbing. It wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't mean to. Do you love him? He asked. She couldn't lie. Yes. Chapter 8 Fallout. Thomas moved out. Word spread at the college. Someone had seen them, Jake and Emily, holding hands at the bookstore. The university launched an ethics investigation. Emily was suspended. Jake dropped out. They had each other, but everything else had burned. Jake tried to console her. We can rebuild, he said. But Emily was drowning in guilt, regret, and shame. She had lost her marriage, her job, her reputation. And slowly, the cracks began to show between them. They weren't equals. Not really. He was still discovering himself. She had already built a life. Chapter 9 Letting Go. One cold November evening, Emily sat across from Jake in the cafe where it all began. I love you, he said. I love you too, she replied. But love isn't enough. He didn't fight her. He knew. She kissed his forehead, whispered goodbye, and walked out into the falling snow. Chapter 10 Redemption. Months passed. Emily took a job teaching creative writing at a community center. The scandal faded. Slowly, she rebuilt. She sent a letter to Thomas, no excuses, just an apology. He never replied, but she hoped, someday, he might forgive her. Jake moved to California. Last she heard, he was writing a novel. Emily lived alone now. No masks. No lies. She looked in the mirror and saw a woman changed, not by the affair, but by everything it revealed. She had crossed the line. Paid the price. But she had also found something she never expected. Herself. Chapter 11 Winter Quiet. Vermont's winter settled in like a heavy quilt, quiet, beautiful, and suffocating. Emily moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment downtown. The walls were bare. The silence painful. But for the first time in years, she wasn't pretending. Every morning she brewed coffee, read books, and walked to the community center to teach a writing class full of misfits, retired teachers, ex-soldiers, single moms. People who had lost something too. They didn't judge her. They didn't know her past. In a way, it was healing. Still, the nights were the hardest. Chapter 12 Letters Never Sent. She wrote to Jake often, letters she never sent. Dear Jake, I miss the way you looked at me like I was art. Like I mattered. But I also know I needed more than what we had. You were freedom. A mirror. A mistake. And a gift. I hope you're writing. I hope you're loving someone your age. I hope you find joy. One day, she burned all the letters. She knew it was time. Jake was a chapter. Not the whole story. Chapter 13 Facing the Past. 6 months after the affair, Thomas finally agreed to meet her for coffee. They sat across from each other, just like old times, but older, wearier. I wasn't blameless, he said softly. I was never there. I thought providing was enough. Emily blinked away tears. It wasn't about Jake. It was about me being invisible. And you were already gone long before I was. They talked for 2 hours. No anger. No reconciliation either. Just understanding. As they parted, Thomas hugged her. I hope you find peace, he whispered. She smiled. I already am. Chapter 14 Closure. Spring arrived like a slow exhale. The community center held a small reading event. Emily wore a soft blue dress and read one of her short stories aloud, about a woman who lost everything but found herself in the aftermath. The crowd clapped. Some cried. A young man approached her after. I'm starting over too, he said. Your story helped. Emily smiled warmly. Then it was worth writing. That night she walked home alone under a sky full of stars, and for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel lonely. She felt whole. Chapter 15 The last time she saw him. That summer, while visiting a bookstore in Boston, she saw Jake. He was taller. Tanned. holding hands with a girl his age. He saw her too. For a moment, they stood frozen. Then he walked over, grinning nervously. "You look good," he said. "So do you. This is Natalie," he said, motioning to the girl beside him. Emily shook her hand. "You've got a good one," she said. Jake smiled, a little sad. "I did too once." They said goodbye like old friends. And that was enough. Chapter 16, Years Later. 5 years passed. Emily published a memoir under a pen name. It wasn't about the affair exactly, but about identity, shame, forgiveness. It did well. She was invited to speak on podcasts and panels. Not as a cautionary tale, but as a voice for people who'd made mistakes and rebuilt. She never remarried. She didn't need to. She bought a small cottage near a lake, adopted a dog, planted roses, and kept writing. Sometimes she still thought about Thomas. And Jake. And the version of herself caught between them. But she didn't regret it. Because that pain carved space for something better. A life that was honest. Epilogue. Everyone has a line they swear they won't cross, until the moment they do. Emily crossed hers. It cost her everything. But sometimes, the breaking is where the truth lives. And sometimes, the wrong road leads to the right place. She wasn't the woman she used to be. She was better. Not perfect. Not unscarred. But finally real.